Welcome to live FB of Martin TF Wong, and tonight definitely we're going to be talking about the technology update. That's right, the second half of 2021. Hopefully we are able to get through everything within 1 hour, and we'll be talking a bit on KLSE and US too. Definitely tonight the market of the S&P 500 already open, so they will be interesting for many of you to be able to use SMARTRobie and continue from here where we left off. Okay, so let's look at what we have, and for those of you who are first time joining us, do join our Telegram chat room in here. This is the QR code and a lot of free information that we share out, including the one that we are doing tonight in here. Definitely. And not to forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is ever growing. All our archive are available and stored it up in here. And don't forget, of course, SMARTRobie, which is our all KLSE, US market, SGX favorite apps for investing and trade idea. That's the one that you can find it in here. And if you share with your friends, you'll get 200 free credit in here. And also don't forget our Rakuten Trade, our continued collaboration with them allows you to sign up new accounts able to win 50 ringgit voucher of rebate. That's right. So where we are right now, that's right. First of all, very quickly, I just want to go into the sector where we have, especially right now, which is a hot sector tonight. This is again from our Trade VSA premium dashboard in here. So for start, technology has been the main driver, continue to go up. Then we have an industrial product, property, telemedia, utilities, REITs, consumer. So these are the sector that I think all of you will be, but tonight the focus will be on technology for much of this day. And also don't forget our foreign funds has started to come in since then. All right, I think some of the news highlight I've already touched on the breakfast show, so catch me on the breakfast show at 10:15 every Monday to Friday except Thursday, and except Tuesday. That's right, Thursday will be done by my colleague Coach Arif. Now from here you can see the KLCI continue to hit down to around 1520. 1500 seems to be the support level. Let me just bring this up here. And I want to show you this. This is in line with what are the things that we already talk about in here. So you can see this is the so-called support level. Okay, you have the support level in here, but what's very interesting is we started to see foreign funds coming in. So this is the foreign funds coming in, and as such, when you saw this here, right, you can see when foreign funds start to buy, the market actually breaks back to 1557. Of course, we all know this. This was when the COVID-19 and we have the Delta variant too. Okay. So all those are actually coming in and causing this market to actually collapse under it. But right now, I think this week, the cases are pretty much flattened, still around 10K and 11K. So we will keep the update of the COVID-19 to a minimum. No doubt about it, going forward, the more lockdown will see this market continue to find more resistant, okay, going higher. So right now, we are seeing some buying foreign funds. So you can see the green one up here. That's to be good. These are the two buying one. Of course, more buying that will mean the KLCI will eventually move higher. So that is what we are looking for. All right, and this is the KLSE a leading indicator in here. All right. So let's go on to our next slide. So on our KLCI, you can see ever since we have the red pentagon that we have here, market broke through here and broke through the ATR stop loss. This is the ATR stop loss. Okay, that's the point that you want to be out. Since then, the market sort of holding up this level in here. We have an upthrust. That is a sign of weakness. Okay, that tells you this market will likely to move sideways. At one point in time, maybe, as I said before in the breakfast show, we do see some sort of a green pentagon, but we just need to wait for that one. Else, market is continuing down to 1560. It's not going anywhere at a volume of 5.4, but take note, the support level now is 1500, and if it's broken beyond that 1500, then we'll see more downwards. Okay, so in here. So on the US side, now remember earlier on US, a lot of news about inflation, so the market are pricing in about inflation that we're seeing right now in here, but that will be gradual. More importantly is the trend continue to be unchanged. This is the key point, right? We have the trend continue to go up. This was, I believe, is a big shakeout, okay, where we have the shakeout, where we have the COVID Delta variant. Okay, the Delta variant continued to cause a lot of the market uncertainty, and there was whether lockdown or not. But last night, the market rallied up. So this morning, in the US sense, I'm not too sure how much has the market returned back, but I do think we are best we'll see probably some sort of upthrust or like this. You know, we probably see a bar like something like this. Okay, it will touch on and then come back down in here. Okay, because there is still a lot of uncertainty. Definitely, my take and also SMARTRobie is don't panic to the Delta variant event. It's a good opportunity to really buy, especially in the US, and take note, the 10-year Treasury yield continue to fall. So go over to TradingView on the US. When the 10 yield continue to fall out, a lot of the tech stocks will gradually move higher there. Okay, now also we're going to turn our attention to the technology sector, which is the second half of the year. Now I'm going to bring in a new term that many of you may have heard of. It's called data science. It's a skill for filtering. It's a skill where you can learn and filter out what is really needed, and pretty much of it, the classification of the stocks that we have, many of them you can see on the KLSE. We have the semiconductor sector, okay, and this is the semiconductor sector. Then we have the automation sector, Vitrox, Penta, MI. Then we have the LEDs, right? Then we also have the network, all right? Then we have the software, and this is all being classified. Now the key thing is, and also you have the cashless payment, which is the GHL revenue and MPay. The digital bank will fall under in here. But the scope for tonight will be on this area, and we will examine going forward for the second half of 2021, what's going to be happening. That will be our scope. And data science is basically knowing how to filter up. And that's right, in our Trade VSA Pro dashboard, we have an industrial screener. That's the one we are able to filter out. Of course, the color scheme here, okay, the color scheme, right, enable, okay, user to select the trend, okay, the trending one. Okay, that's what we want to do tonight, all right? So that's the Trade VSA Pro dashboard in here. Of course, going back to the news as early back in February and coming right to June, which is last month, the semiconductor is still in good shape. As I report on the daily basis on Breakfast Show, the technology sector in US are already making a headline and continue to give very good earnings. We have seen that also Apple's earnings will be out this week in here, hitting new high. And so far that has not correlated to the local market. Why? Because the US is the big brother and Malaysia is the brother catching up. So in this report that the sales forecast for the sector is expected to rise this year. So I just want to take it in here. The security firm analysts in here, you can see from report, recommended a buy for Inari, MPI, and a sell on Elsoft. My take at this is pretty much similar, and this is also due to the continuing stronger chip sales. All right, so you can see here on the 11th of February, right, dating back in February, where we have a big run on the KLCI, the market hit up. So the chip sales was strong, and this is partly from the COVID-19 that we have seen so far, right? Remember COVID-19, where people are locked down, they have to work from home. But more importantly, I want to share with you this two important information in here. Now take note, the first one is the KAGE. KAGE stands for cumulative, okay, average growth rate. Okay, so if you look at this, you have the equipment sales, which is dominated by this sector, and you can see equipment are automation. Then you have the semiconductor sales. Now remember, Malaysia, many of our public listed company in KLSE are divided into the semicons and the automation. So in here, the other one is the semiconductor sales. So out of the two, A and B, okay, which one would you like? Just type it inside there. Which one would you like? in terms of growth. Now, this is important for those of you who are looking for growth just on top of me in here, right? Definitely is, answer is A, that's right. So it's equipment sales. So if you look at equipment sales like Penta, MI, Vitrox, MNSP, Elsoft, Great-Tech, and iStone, these are the ones that generally are backed by strong fundamentals, and that's the growth. Whereas if you look at the semiconductors sales with a CAGR of 3 to 5% annually, and that's over 2010 over 2020, you will see Inari, MPI, UWC, Globetronics, and also KESM. Okay, let me just because of my picture here, so I'm just gonna this one, let me just type it here for you. KESM and Unisem. So this is important. That tells you what would be your focus for second half of 2021 if you have not got into technology. Now take down, this is important picture in here. Take a picture of this one here. So that will be my first point. Okay. So my second point will be, let's look at COVID before and after. Now the annual IC referring to semiconductor sales, just before the COVID, remember COVID started back in 20, right? In so-called March. Okay, March, where the big market falls. What we have seen going back to March, right? The market is already undergoing negative sales. That was in early March last year. So you can see early March upside. Then the COVID actually happened when? COVID stock market tanked when? They actually tanked in March 2020, remember? So which is somewhere around here. So at the point where the market started to tank, the IC sales started to pick up. So for some reason, when the COVID-19 started off in US, we were already seeing a lot of buying of IC chips. And you can see here, minus 18%, minus 8, and this is a data from VLSI research. Minus 18% happened in May last year. That was the bottom, minus 18%. And then it went to positive. That was somewhere around here. Okay, somewhere around here was in January. But we see the March take off from here onwards, you can see, right? Then there was another peak here at 13%. So going forward in here, this is the volatility index, the yellow one. Okay, that tells you that the market continued to go up. So what's this showing even prior to COVID-19? The sales were not generally affected that much. It is on a cyclic of the market. But what we have seen from this VLSI weather report, that tells you after COVID-19, the incident supercharged the IC sales. And you can see IC sales now is greater than 18%. That is the growth that we are talking about in here. Because during this time, okay, 2019, we are seeing there were a negative growth. Okay, negative growth. What we are looking for is positive growth, because if you look at all the semiconductors in Malaysia, those companies we talk about, Penta, Unisem, MPI, right? What we want to see is margin expansion. You write that down. Margin expansion is very, very important in here. Okay. Now, I won't comment on Dufu tonight. It's not a stock to comment on some of these stocks inside here. I will keep that in the breakfast show. Now, so take note. After you have seen this and understand the implication of the growth, right now we are seeing about 18% growth, okay, for IC sales right now in here. So this IC 18% sales will lead to profit margin. Okay, the profit margin expansion, right? This will cause the share price, okay, to move up. So that's why we are seeing right now the shares, JF Tech, all these are slowly moving up. And again, going back to semiconductor, I do believe Dufu is in metal stamping, if I'm not mistaken. So metal stamping are not semiconductors, okay? I can remember, if I'm not remember, they are the sector. Just like SKP and ATA INMS, those are different from the semiconductors. They're not in the specific technology. So I hope I did answer your question on that one. So this is important because I want to explain that the profit margin, this will lead to the share price expansion in here. So first of all, you have this number one, okay? Then you have profit margin expansion, and this will lead to stock price. Okay? So let's move on to thing. So let's look at some of the challenges going forward. All right. For start, medical equipment, okay, which has been used a lot, the ventilators, data center, which I'm going to talk about cloud computing. Of course, not forgetting 5G, solid state drive. What is this? These are all your pen drives, right? Your pen drives and your hard disk drive. Of course, hard disk drives are not the solid. Then the touchless solution, the touch screen, the memory, the sensors, and a lot of electric cars use a lot of this equipment in here. But what are the challenges that we've seen this year? Of course, we have heard about the chip maker going through a shortage because during the COVID 2020, they weren't expecting people to buy so much of the IoT, the iPads, the computer. But because of the lockdown and the work from home, many people have no choice. They have to buy an iPad, have to buy another extra phone. And as such, traditionally, a lot of the chips which focus on the what we call on the IT, some of this was not able to supply to automotive. And then what happens? Last year, when Joe Biden won the November election 2020, suddenly green energy became very popular. Right then we have the EV car expansion, and that green energy still continued to today, right? So this has led to the chip shortage worldwide. Of course, the aerospace in electronics, which we all see due to the so-called arm race now between the US and China. Of course, the global trade still ongoing, the spat between China and also what we've seen also in Hong Kong, right? And today, right now, it's climate change, isn't it, right? We just saw in China, in Zhengzhou, I think, middle Henan province, we've seen a lot of the big flooding in there. So again, the green movement was going to drive more and more to the green energy, and that's something I've talked about last week. Of course, the supply chain management, inventory control, these remain to be the challenges. Okay, now let's talk about cloud computing in here. Now, cloud computing, a lot has been driven by IoT application in here. So you'll see from here onwards, the hyperscale fabless capacity. Now, Alibaba, Amazon, Apple, Baidu, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Tencent. These are your stocks that has done very well. Now, take a note of this here. Now, early on, we did report, okay, about the semiconductors. Semiconductors, Kage is only 5%. Okay, 5%. Then we have the test equipment is about 12%. But if you look at the Kage for cloud computing, like Alibaba, Amazon, Apple, Baidu, they are growing about 25 to 30% annually from 2013 to 2020. So these are telling you a lot of these big companies are heavily investing in the capex. So this eventually will translate to sales. So another big area of growth will be cloud computing, which not many people talk about it. Right now, people are still talking about semiconductors, but take note, right? Because many of our applications, our apps, the IoT are already in the cloud. So this is why we are seeing that US and China are pitting against the same global customers in here. So that's point number 2. Okay. Then point number 3 is definitely the 5G driver. That's right. Now 5G outside of China, practically people are still very slow. They are still, especially US. US has lost the 5G in Malaysia for some reason. Why we were with Huawei and then all of a sudden we went on with Ericsson. I couldn't find any reason behind it here. So right now you can see the 5G are one of the big driver in China. So China plan to install by 2020 600,000 new 5G base station. We still haven't done anything yet in Malaysia, right? Even US too, they're still talking about it. So Huawei is one of the big leaders. And take note, Huawei do not have semiconductors, so they need a lot of semiconductors in US and Europe and South Korea for some of those countries that they are building for the 5G in here. So remember, 5G will provide a lot of the IoT, high bandwidth. Again, this will give out a lot more usage, right? Because why is that? On the second half of this year and even going to the first quarter of 2022, you will see the continued trend going forward, right? Now, going back to the same news in here, 23rd of June 2020, the local companies in here, what are those companies we're talking about? Inari, Globetronics, those are the two companies. This was mentioned by this analyst report in here. But let me just move this slide here up, right? And then you can see it better. Okay, is the 12% up here, right? The semiconductor sales from 2021 continue to grow at 12%, right? The Kage, that's the annual growth rate. So anything if it's above the 10%, 12%, that's a very, very good year. Now, other very strong growth that we've seen also is the rubber glove. Okay, but the rubber glove, the problem is once the COVID is over, they're not able to sustain, and that's what the premium or the valuation is not given as high to the rubber glove compared to the semiconductors. And also don't forget, for some of the rubber glove, they have issues with the ESG, environmental friendly. You know, there's a labor issues with some of the companies inside there. So they do not have the kind of premium like they do for the semiconductors in here. So Ong said that this again is another plus factor with the 12% for the semiconductor, analog DRAMs and so forth, which I'm not going to go into it, all right? Now, another next area of growth, which I spent a bit time last Saturday on the MACQ, Macquarie, Warren. I hope some of you came and listened to my talk on the electric vehicle in here. In short, the electric vehicle has continued to grow about 15 or 16% over the last 2 years, and it's going to be one of the biggest in here. Definitely EV is the electric motors. DNO is definitely one of the players in here. So take a look at those stocks inside there, right? Which will drive the market, and great tech too. So those are the 5 points. Now, way back in January 21st, which is what I reported in here, the story has not changed. As a matter of fact, it reconfirmed what I mentioned in January 21st. So area of growth here, important, you want to take this now. Semiconductor test equipment. You know what are those stocks early on? Look back at the stocks or re-watch this video again. The semiconductor sectors, those are ICs. Then you have the cloud computing, the Apple, the Baidu, the Microsoft. Then we have the 5G, okay? Many of the 5G equipments. Then also the electric vehicle. Now, many of this information are available on the YouTube, and I do some recording. So check out my YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Trade VSA. So subscribe, and it's all available for you for free, okay? So going forward, what we have is going to be looking at the future. So the future, what's driving, especially for 2021, will be 5G. You can see from the bottom side here, the 5G is what we're going from 2020 to 2022. The IoT, Internet of All Things. All right, remember the medical equipment, we're going to get a lot more right now because of the COVID-19 and work from home. Many people prefer to do what we call medical consultation or virtual consultation. Remember, doctor on call are becoming more popular in here. Definitely, they want to have a 5G with low latency. All right, and the cloud will be driving this. Many of these things will be put up in our cloud. All right, so these are what's going to be driving to the future. So some of those counters that I mentioned in there are ready and instead going forward. So the question is, how do we look for these technology shares? Now, earlier on, I talked about using big data science and big data. And in Trade VSA, we have 3 main screeners. The first one is our KLSE sector industrial screener. So we look for all possible candidates. So I'm going to touch on this next here. Then the next is the growth screener. Those with growth share potential, right? That's the one with the fundamental indicator. And finally, we have one which is a very new feature, is the Pentagon guided screener with the growth filter enabled, which you can enter the next day. We're just going to share with you how it looks like. So of the 3 filters that we have, 1, 2, 3, you can use any of those 3. The first one is the industrial sector screener. We look for everything under it, under the technology sectors. Then we have the growth FA screener, where we filter to have the best of the best in terms of growth. It has to satisfy a higher growth rate remember, not all technology sectors will grow. Some don't do so well. And then finally, the Pentagon Guider buy screener that enables you, providing you have a FA DDO, which you can select quality dividend shares as well as growth winner shares. So here we have on our Trade VSA Pro dashboard, right? So we have 3 different screener in here. The first one is industrial sector screener. Second one is the growth FA screener. And the third one is the Pentagon Guider screener, which you enter. And I'm going to demo to you how it works. So firstly, if you bring up the Trade VSA Pro premium dashboard here that you can see. So once you log in here, you can check out the screener over here. This is what I'm talking about. The first one was the industrial screener, which is a sector, which actually look at gain here. So if we click on that one, that will take you to this screen where I have to log in again. All right, so once I log in again here, and you'll go on to the screener, and you go into the FA screener here. Switch off some of these. I don't use that a lot. Okay, while it's loading here, you can also check out some of our calendar here, right? In our events, calendar of events here, not to be miss out any of our workshop. Okay, so now this is where we have the respective sector. This is a full list. Now just now we are talking about technology, right? How do you know about technology? Again, we go down to the KLSEI and you go down to sector analysis. So in this sector analysis, we can see the technology in here. So we definitely know technology is the stock that we're looking for. So you go over to here and look for technology. Scroll right at the base here, click on technology and click on submit. Okay, so these are the stocks that we have, and generally what we want to look for is those stocks that is ready to go higher. Okay, so one, we have this technology sector. We'll click submit. Okay, we'll click on submit, and we will need to sort out and look for the shares that's ready to go higher. So we're just waiting for this. I think some of the members are still using this. So what we want to look for is look for stocks that is color scheme. Now remember, all these are color scheme. I'm not going to go through all the rules here, but what I'm going to do is to share with you how some of these actually works. Okay. So meanwhile, while we're looking for that one, I want to show you this is the finished one, right? The industrial in here. So you can see from here onwards, what we are looking for is looking for those that has a lot more green. The purple one already run rot. You can see great tag. And what we want to do, you want to see some sort of a pullback in here. You can see this one is 6 months is moving up. You can see here is the 6 month is really nicely trend, the percentage in here. But what we want to see is a minor pullback. Okay, so you can see a minor pullback here will be Inari and VSEC. So what we're trying to do is to look for the best stock trade to buy now. This is one way. Okay, I'm going to show you this, the next way. So in here you could see we want to look for 2 green, which is the 3 month and the 6 month, and a little bit of in here. So Unisem seems to be that one. So Unisem, then we go on to our trading view. All right, or you can go to SMARTRobie. So right now I'm going to trading view here and get out from here, and I will key in just switch this back, and we are looking for, what stock were we looking for just now? Okay, we are looking for what the 2 green and 1 slightly Unisem. Okay, Unisem. Okay, Unisem. And you can see Unisem, it's a 1. It hasn't run yet. You can see the market try to break out and then pull back. This is a very nice trend. This is how we look for location to buy those stocks. Okay, so Unisem is one way to look at it. All right, let's also look at another one. Another example in here, going back to what we have is the growth screener. Okay, so you can see from the growth screener here for number 2, we will use growth screener now. Okay, so when you look at growth screener, and what we do is we go on to screener, FA growth here, and this will have the fundamental, right? What you'll do here, okay, let me just bring you another one. Okay, it's loading now. Okay, you can see the growth screener in here. And what you want to do, out of the KLSCI, you cannot see this. It's only 126 stocks. Okay, it's not many. So it updates itself based on the Kage. Remember we talked about the Kage. We select stocks that has predominantly at least a 8 or 9% Kage growth annually. Okay, so in here we can look for tech stocks. So you can see technology, we are only restricted to some of the better ones inside. Look like here. JHM, High-Tech Padu, Sensoft, Denoise, Vitrox, Frontcan, Penta, and JF Tech. Okay, so let's look at Penta here. So Penta, we know, and you can go to Penta here. So that is how we are able to find those good growth. So what we are trying to do, we're trying to narrow it better and better. First, we have the big list. Then we have those that is even better, growth, and growth. Out of the 100 over technology stocks, we're looking even for the better one, and that's how we found out about Penta. So you can see here Penta, this is a stock in here. Of course, you can check out the Penta, which is a growth stock here, and the market right now, it's poised and ready to move higher. Of course, if you have gone in since the green pentagon here, that will be slightly about, maybe about 10 to 11% from the green pentagon. It can go higher from here onwards. So that's how we look for Penta. Okay, now let's go on to our third way of looking is to buy tomorrow, which means we want to buy number 3 now. We are number 3. We want to buy when there is a Pentagon guider, right at the Pentagon guider. So this is how we are doing it in here. So we look at the Pentagon buy. So we go to Pentagon guider buy here. So the Pentagon guider buy, and I just want to show you very interesting, just do a bit of back test, okay? So right now, okay, so in here we have the 21st of here. So you can see there is a growth stock, there is a FA Dido stock. You can see here, growth and FA Dido. Now FA Dido basically is looking for high dividend, solid company, okay? So this is the one that we selected tonight on the 21st. You can see FA Dido, we only left with 3 stocks only. You can see automotive, Orient, agriculture, and personal goods in nature, and these pay dividend. All right, so let's say we are looking for growth stocks. There's no growth stock tonight. See, that's how we're doing that. So we can go back to previous date, which is the 19th. Let's check out 19, and you can submit because the 21st was based on today's date for tomorrow trading. Let's go to 19, and we will go to 19. Of course, this is where I tell some of our existing masterclass members, go back and test it out. Okay, so this is on the 19th July. You can hit growth, and this is what we have in here. You can see, right? We have any technology stock. We have software, Systech. Okay, and there is a way to select these stocks. I'm going to show you how we select those stocks going back to 5th of July. Now, these are growth stocks, remember? And if you want to look for FA Dido and growth, there's only one. Easy, right? With growth and also pay the dividend is Leon Fat Berhad. All right, so you want to check out Leon Fat Berhad. So how do we know that? Okay, let me just bring out the SMARTRobie here, and let's check out the fundamentals now. Okay, so I'm just going to bring out here. So I type in Leon Fat FB. Okay, and now we go on to fundamentals. Okay, Leon Fat is here. We're going to stock fundamentals. All right, so you can see from here, Leon Fat is a 5 rating. Right. That's how we find it. Easy, right? PE of 5, but with a return of equity of 13 times with a dividend of 2%. A small cap stocks, and of course you want to look at the fundamental, click on that one. We can look at the fundamentals further to see the trend. So you can see from here onwards, you can see Leon Fat. Let's look at the 4% margin, right? And it's a 8% in here. And let's look at the quarterly. Now, this is what I talk about, the margin expansion, remember? Right? This is a case, but of course, Leong Fat is metal lah. It's not IT lah. But this is how we find it. Just now we talk about margin expansion. So when you see margin expansion, right, from 17%, right, 9%, no one has found this stock yet. So eventually, when the margin expansion move, right, and when metal goes into favor, this stock was going to jalan, okay? But if you look from right now, let's look at the Leong Fat right now, where we are. So I'm just sharing with you how I look for this kind of stocks, okay? You can see Leong Fat hasn't ready to move up yet. There was another wash. There was a green pentagon turning back green in here. So at one point of time, someone is going to write something good about Leong Fat, and or some smart money is going to push this share. This thing is going to move up. But take note where it came from, right? In January, it was only 50 cents, right? In 50 cents. And right now, it's already $1. So in 6 months, it has gone up 100%. 100%. And it is rated, how many just now? Let's go back here. How do we find that? And it's rated 5 out of 8. So it becomes a growth as well as a... So this is how you want to use the screener, right? And for those of you who have those screener in here, use the Pentagon with the growth screener, or Pentagon with growth and FADO. So you get the best of the best, all right? So I want to share with you another way to look for stocks. Okay, just now, back to here. On the Pentagon, guider, up this number 3, right? We're taking a look at number 3, guider stock. So you take a look at this one here, you can switch over to, what we talk about here is to go back to the, no, hang on. This one here, we're going to go back to 5th of July. I want to show you something, okay? Reason is, let's say you pick up a stocks on 5th of July. Where would it be? Okay, so we have 5th of July, we submit first, right? You can do some sort of back test because we want to see in the past, if I've gone back to the 5th of July and I click on growth, right? And I want to sort out by turnover because I want to have the highest turnover in here. So definitely you can see Leong Fat came out on the 5232, okay? It was metal. So what we want to do is look for technology in here. If you see, there's only one, semiconductor Vitrox, okay? 0097, that was 5th of July. So you go back to Vitrox, 5th of July, remember? There you go, 5th of July is here. So 5th of July, let's say you go in the next day, 6th of July, right? And if you go for shorter term, yeah, 10% profit already. That's how is it. So this is how you want to do it. So the stocks that we pick today, okay, let's pick another one, okay, in here, and that's big, because what we are trying to do is narrow down to the sector, right? We know this. Of course, you can also switch to FADO, right? And some of this don't pay dividend. We got eSafe, okay, so eSafe, let's look at eSafe 019. I think they make rubber glove, right? eSafe. So eSafe was on 5th of July. You can see here, 5th of July, somewhere here. Yeah, you're still positive, right? It came back down, didn't hit the ATR stop loss. So from here, okay, from here to here, about 8% return. So that's how simple is it. By using what we say, the first way, we have the big stock universe of technology. Number 2, we focus on growth. Okay, we focus on growth, but we do not know when to buy yet. But number 3 that you see up there, we buy when the stock come to you on the green Pentagon with the growth stock. So for our member, those of you who have the Pentagon guided screen, this is definitely a real bonus in here. And this is something that we teach you and train you how to do to it. Now, right now, with the technology stock that is coming right now, every day, just look for the Pentagon, click the growth, and if there's one coming up, go for it. If you cannot wait, then you go to growth FA screener, right? Let's say you go to FA growth screener. Just now, let's say we go to growth FA screener and we type technology inside here. Okay, let's look at front can. Okay, front can seems to be the one. Look at front can. Then we look at whether it is time to buy or not. Okay, because we don't want to miss the boat. Okay, let's look at front can here. So you can see front can hasn't gone up yet. So you can see this is a nice pullback. which we teach in our masterclass again, right? That will give you some sort of chance to go back up. So we don't want you after start to run to end of the year. It's important. Now I'm going to give you another bonus too, especially this is the next release here to supplement the full understanding of the screener. And next thing what we do is using seasonality. All right. So I'm just going to go on to the remaining of my presentation in here to make it a full package for you. Okay, a full package. So what we're going to do is basically looking at what we call seasonality. Now, some of the three stocks we talk about, Penta, Inari, Unisem, can still buy. I know many of you ask this kind of question. So what we do, we have another tools, what we call seasonality. Now, if you look at this is Penta. Going back to the last 6 years. Now, the grand total return from 2016, starting from July, way back, until right now, it's 416% return. So this new table, what we call seasonality, will be available for member in fourth quarter. We are currently going through this testing. And one of the things that we do, we try to combine all the methodology, the data science, right, which we just talked about it in here, the filtering process, the classification, and then looking at the past seasonal. So you can see right now, if you go back to here, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Okay, let me just share with you what I mean. So if you look back here, 2016, this one is more than 20% lah. More than 20%. Okay, this one, okay, just zero. This one also more than 20%. This one also more than 20%. This one right now is 12%. So what do you think on the law of average? Do you think Penta will go higher or not? What do you think? Just type it inside there. Let me know what you think. Will Penta go higher? And this is something what we call back testing. We saw the back testing that we've seen going back to the screener. The growth plus the Trade VSA patterns, right? Plus in here. What do you think? Still got 8% more to move, isn't it? So you can see here we got another possibility. Again, possibility plus another 8 to 10%. All right. And to me, this is what I call understanding the macroeconomics. This one in here, not too difficult. It's what we call the mango. No, kalau ada durian, no, maybe durian will drop. Rambutan, yeah, rambutan. You go there, the rambutan, just stretch your arm, you can pick. And this is what I mean. I can just go up here and pick the 10%, the 8%. Betul kan? All right. So that's what I mean. Okay. Let's go to another one. Inari. Okay. Now we go back to Inari here. This example in here, only 2018 it dropped 30%. You have a 15%. Last year was a good year, 57%. All right. And you look at it, average is about 24 lah. Okay. You go back to the previous one, average is 69. We don't go so high lah. We go for 20%. So you got another 8%. Because why we say that is, if the sector itself is growing, right? Eventually many of these stocks, because of the bearish sentiment we see in Malaysia, it will gravitate back to the average return one. Do I say this makes sense? If I do 6% type, yes. Okay. So you look at Inari, 17% possibility it will gravitate back to this average return. Okay. And last but not least, Unisem. You can see Unisem is 28%. Okay. This is 128, 36. So you look at Unisem already 28% already for beginning of the year. So out of the three stocks we talk about in here, Unisem, Inari, and Penta. So given a choice, based on what you saw just now, which one would you buy? Penta, isn't it? So this seasonality return, it's a very, very good feature. Not that difficult. I've been using this for many, many years for my fund management. It's just that now we are able to bring this to you so you can understand better too. Now, all right, of course, our Trade VSA tools and education is designed to fast track your goal, just based on what I've shared for you tonight. Right? And right now we doing that and we enabling more and more of our member to enjoy this. So definitely our August intake, our 3-day course will encompass what we just shared with you in here, plus all the tools that you see, the number 1 screener, number 2 and number 3 screener. All right, which learning from our coaches and experience will help you to create your wealth. So just on that 2 example, eSafe and Vitrox. Of course, there's many, many more of you. You can go back and back test and let me know. As such that our SMARTRobie continue to outperform the market by almost -6%, and while we are about 11.6% return. Okay, so fast track is important. Many of our members realize that, and you are guided well, then you will do much better in here. So meanwhile, we focus on knowledge and training. All right. And our intake for August is here. So take note of it. So right now, what I'm going to do is take a few questions in here, right? And with our growth screener, that will take you much better with our also enable the growth plus Pentagon. You're on the right track in here. So I will stop here and take few questions about what you want me to ask on. Okay, so this is the Google review. Check us out and do give us a good Google review and WhatsApp if you're interested for our Trade VSA Pro dashboard. That's the one that you saw. Or if you have any question regards to the semiconductors. Okay, of course, for our masterclass member, Trade VSA member, go ahead and use the growth screener. I've done a little bit of back testing. You know, not too bad. The results are quite good too. Okay, so that's what we are coming out with, more and more training using the tools out there. All right, for those of you who don't have it, who is interested to get the screener, which is using data science, that's the number you want to call and find out more for our package in here. Or those of you who want to can also ask me question right now. So in short, let me just summarize early on. What are the sectors we are looking for? There's potential growth: semiconductor test equipment, cloud computing, semiconductor IC chips, EV, right? And what's the last one? 5G. Okay, so precisely, so any of those screener that comes out in your perspective, right? I also apologize tonight. I didn't have time to go to the US market because it's going to take longer than our usual 1 hour in here. As I said before, I promise I'll finish with less than 1 hour, and I've done that. Any question that you all have? All right. So if there's no question in here, thank you for coming, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Telegram, and I'll see you on Friday. That's right, we're also doing our 1-day course on that one. Bye bye.